Let's talk about sponges. Not the one I'm using to clean my car with, or perhaps something you might use in the bath. Not even delicious sponge cakes, but sponges used for model making. If you've looked at some of my projects, you'll have seen that as well as paintbrushes, there's a little bit of sponging going on there for quite different effects. But let's have a look to see what use of sponge is. Here's a piece of earth. Now, okay, it's a piece of MDF covered in some poo brown paint, but let's assume for the minute it's a piece of earth and I want to grow some nice grass on here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put some PVA on there and squirt it straight out of the bottle. There we go, look at that lovely squirty PVA all over the place. And what I can do is I can put my scatter material straight on this. The only trouble is the scatter material only stick where there's glue, and that means we're going to get ridges all over the place. So what we do, of course, is we get a paintbrush and we paint it all over there, and that's looking a lot better. That's going to give us a much smoother finish, but it's still gonna have ridges in it, because if you look there, there's more glue there, and basically there's little lumps of glue everywhere. However, take a bit of sponge. Now this is some medium density foam that I got out of some old packing, but if you haven't got any old packing handy, see if there's a upholstery shop or upholstery suppliers near you, and they will sell you a great big wad of foam for a few quid. And all we do is pat the glue with the sponge, and there we are, all the brush marks are gone. It's now nice and smooth, and also suitably tacky. So there we are, and all I do then is I take my scatter material and literally scatter it all over the glue. So just put plenty on, because I'm going to tip it off in a minute. There we go, plenty of scatter on there. Tap it down with my hand just to push it into the glue, and then hopefully when I tip it off, there we are, nice smooth grass. And there you are, quick and simple. In my opinion, one of the trickier surfaces to model is tarmac, because it's not one colour and it has a bit of texture. But again, this is where your sponges come in handy. Now I've got 2 pots of paint here. Yes, they look a bit tatty because I've had them for a while, but they are precision paints, new tarmac and faded tarmac, and I'm going to use both of them on this board. Now I've put a bit of paint onto the tin lid. And what I'll do is I will start with the new tarmac. Again, patting it down. This gives you a little bit of texture in the stuff, because I'm working straight onto an MDF board, which is obviously perfectly flat, and but that's absolutely perfect for what we're working with. So let's pat a bit more of that out. Just get a bit more on the lid. Slightly. I think it's time I bought myself a new pot of tarmac. It's just starting to go off, but yeah, look at that. You get little bits of skin which can be quickly removed. Okay, there we go. That's a bit of tarmac there. Now, using a second sponge, start with the worn tarmac. Now, you need to work fairly quickly on this sort of thing, because what we're looking to do is we're looking to blend the colours together so that you don't get just one colour. As you can see, you can actually see both, and you can also see that as I say, there's a definite changes as you look around my tarmac area. Here we go. And if you think it's looking a bit light or whatever, you can dab in, you know, a bit more newer tarmac. Put a bit more of that in there, so perhaps areas where cars or vehicles haven't been moving quite as much, and you can put a bit of that in there. And then for a finishing touch, I like to use, let's put it on that side, I like to use a little bit of talcum powder. Here we are, again applied with the sponge, and you'll notice again what it does, it gives you again a little bit more texture, but it lightens up the tarmac colour. And again, applied with a sponge, you don't get the edges that you do with a brush, but a little bit more I think over in this corner. You can see how it's almost as good as an airbrush, but considerably cheaper. So there you are, cheap and easy to use tools. I think they have as much place on your modelling bench as a paintbrush, and certainly very handy to use with all sorts of paints, including emulsions for scenic work. And the best thing about it is you can trim them down as the paint's dried on that side. I'll just trim a little bit off. I'll trim that top edge off. But a proper disposable tool as well, and a great use for old foam packing. There we go then. Sponges for modellers. Happy modelling.